Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in yet another Thursday webinar. And today, due to heavy request, we are back with our HubSpot sessions. And today's session is super important, very close to what we are doing every single day, which is HubSpot Signal and Enrichment. So this is going to be the part one of a series, hopefully we are going to create. So wait for the upcoming videos as well. If you are in part two or part three, go ahead and check out our part one video before you continue into part two or part three. Okay, so let's get started. So today we're going to talk about HubSpot signals, part one, and how we can use HubSpot to detect signals and do enrichment directly within HubSpot. All right. So why signals in HubSpot? HubSpot released these features only recently, right? Thanks to AI and automation, we have tools like Clay and Anytime taking over the matter. So HubSpot was lagging behind. So they started launching these features where HubSpot can detect signals, right, within the platform itself. And then we can build AI agent to do the decision making and also use the HubSpot inbuilt automation tools and email sending tools and workflows and like so on. So a lot of stuff was already built in HubSpot. All they had to do was add signals to it. And I personally believe that they have done a very good job in adding signals in the entire tech stack. Okay, so why does signal matter? Because HubSpot has the buyer information. So HubSpot CRM has the information about the buyer within the CRM itself. All the leads, contacts, customers, all of them are within your HubSpot CRM. It has the data. So now with that data, it can also engage in terms of signals that is coming up. Form fill capture only a fraction of intent. That means, typically what we do is if somebody fills up the form, it comes down to your HubSpot and then we start tracking them. This is a typical inbound CRM activity, which still has an HubSpot, but it is very limited. It did not reveal the real buyer behavior. And I'll give you examples of this in this session. Okay. Signals, as we know, allow earlier, smarter GTM decisions. Okay. So what those signals are and how we can track it, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration as well, so that you can do it in your case as well if you're using HubSpot. So why signal matters in HubSpot? Buyer activity. All the buyer activity is tracked and recorded within the HubSpot CRM. That means if a contact comes, it becomes a lead, then it becomes a deal, then it becomes a customer. So all those activities tracked within the HubSpot. Also, HubSpot tracks what kind of interaction activity you are having with those buyers. That means, if you're having an email exchange with that buyer, that is tracked, right? If the buyer is, having a call with you, that can also be tracked, and like so on. So a lot of information is tracked within HubSpot, right? So HubSpot has added this another layer called HubSpot Signals. So what is signal? So signal is like if a company is in your CRM, and if the same company is also visiting your website, and if the same company is also going for a funding round, so some of the activity is internal to HubSpot. Some of the activity is external to HubSpot, right? For example, if a buyer is engaging with you within the HubSpot, within the email, which is being tracked by HubSpot, it's an internal stuff within HubSpot. But if the buyer is interacting with your apps, which is outside of HubSpot, then that's an external signal. And if the buyer is going for a funding round or for a merger and acquisition, or maybe hiring a new CIO, that kind of signal is coming from outside, right? So even those signals can be tracked and then attributed towards the accounts and the buyer. So signals are both internal. So internal signals are called activity, and then there are external signals, which we call as signal, right? So if you combine the buyer activity, which is within the HubSpot, and if you combine it with external HubSpot signals, then what you can decipher is a hidden intent, right? I'll give you an example. For example, a contact is there, a company is there, which in your CRM for last 6 months, and it went all the way to the stage of deal, but it never converted into a customer, right? So, you had an interaction, you send the proposal, it became a deal, but the conversion never happened. And then after 6 months, suddenly the same account, people from the same account, the contacts from the same account, start sending in email or start visiting your website. That means the activity has restarted in many ways, right? So then you can restart, then you can start, checking the activity, the signals. Okay, fine. There is a website visit signal. Good. All right. That can be attributed back to the account. Okay. Now let's find out some more signal. Is there a new CIO who has come up? Okay, looks like there is a CXO level change happening. Okay. Maybe they have got some funding. Some news came out about their funding. Maybe they have a management change, right? Maybe they are hiring rapidly. So these are the external signals that can also be put in and tracked, external signal. And then if you all put together all this information in one place in form of an activity, you will get the internal activity and you will get external signals, and then you can take better decisions, right? So now this time you can reach out to the new CIO or the new CXO who has joined, and then say, hey, you know what, we were having this deal, we had a very good discussion. It'll be great if you can just restart the engagement, right? So now when you reach out to these people, you are contextually aware of what really went on. You have behavioral insights, and you can do a lot more personalization when you are going to do another round of engagement, right? And this is something that I'm talking about, the contexts which are already there in your HubSpot, and then you're finding external signals. Even if the contact is not there in your HubSpot CRM, just through the external signals, you can push account and contact details, okay, and then start the discussions as well, right? So that's the beauty of HubSpot. So HubSpot is not just a marketing tool, it's not just a CRM, it's not just a sales tool. Now it is a complete GTM tool, right? I just give you one example. I can go on and on this. We are going to give some more examples as well. So what are HubSpot intent signals? Okay, the HubSpot intent signals is no different than any other intent signals. For example, there are intent signals that are provided by Apollo, ZoomInfo, by Clay. You can do that, right? So all these platforms like Cognizant, they all provide signals. Even LinkedIn Sales Navigator does provide signal, but it is specific to LinkedIn. So HubSpot is no different than many of these tools, right? But the beauty of HubSpot is that HubSpot also has the inbuilt CRM and the marketing tool and the automation tool and the workflow tools and like so on, which these other tools do not have. Many of the tools that I just talked about, the Cognizant, the ZoomInfo, the Apollo, the LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they are more like a data provider, right? They are more like an intent provider, signal provider. So they provide data, but you have to do something with the data, right? So in order to do something with the data, you need platforms like Reply, like Salesforce, like HubSpot, like email marketing tool, and like so on. But the beauty of HubSpot is that HubSpot is like in many ways all in one, right? So now I personally feel, being in this industry for a very long time, we can safely say that HubSpot is now becoming one of the first all-in-one GTM tool. Okay. I think that's what their intent is. They're working very hard and they are working very fast. And I think HubSpot is in the right direction in many ways. So what are the intent signals or behavior that we can capture with HubSpot? That means you don't have to buy ZoomInfo. You don't have to, take a job feeder. You don't have to take Apollo. You don't have to take any of it. Within HubSpot, you can track a lot of stuff. And these tools and these sources are available within HubSpot. Now, the reason why HubSpot is able to provide all these data sources and signal is because HubSpot in 2024 bought Clearbit, which is a major competitor to Sixsense. And they acquired Clearbit for around $30 billion or something. I don't remember exactly how much they paid, but it was in tens of billions of dollars. And Clearbit was one of the largest data provider when it comes to intent and signals, right? I think it was a very smart move by HubSpot at the right time. and I can see the benefit, the functionality which is coming out, maybe a year or two after that. Okay. So coming back to the topic, what are the intent and behavioral indicators that we can capture with HubSpot? We can capture website activity. That means if somebody visits a website, and even if that person or a company does not fill up the form, those people do not fill up the form, still we are able to figure out from which company these people are coming from at least 50 to 60% of the time. So website engagement activity can be captured via HubSpot. All you have to do is just put the tracking code of HubSpot in your website. Boom, it is done. It takes maybe not more than 10 minutes to do that. Okay, content engagement, right? If you're using HubSpot CMS, right? Even if you're not using HubSpot CMS, you can put the HubSpot tracking code in your blogs and your white papers, landing pages, and like so on. And you can, track the content engagement. But if you are using HubSpot CMS, it's even better. Then you can basically monitor the entire content engagement within the HubSpot itself. But even if it is not, you can still do it. Even if you are in some other CMS like HubSpot or Wix, you can still do it. No problem. Okay. For example, somebody, one of your existing customer is going and reading out one of the blogs. That can be now tracked as an activity within the contact. Good, right? So now you know that, okay, fine, these are the people who are reading this particular blog or checking a pricing page. Good. That means they are interested in a product or service again. Let's make a list. Let's make a segment, and then we will do a email outreach to those people. And you can do all of that within HubSpot itself. Right? Email interaction now can be very easily tracked. So you can integrate your mailboxes with HubSpot, and you can basically have all interactions of email, even outside of HubSpot, in your personal mailboxes like G Suite and Outlook, can be then tracked within HubSpot. Ads engagement. So HubSpot, LinkedIn ads, Google ads, Meta ads can be integrated to HubSpot, and you can run ads from within the HubSpot platform itself. And even if you're not running the ads from within the HubSpot platform, you can still get all the engagement information pushed back into HubSpot, right? CRM lifecycle movement, product tool interaction. I mean, it will go on and on, right? So the idea is for the signals to indicate the interest, readiness, and momentum. Okay, so these are the three major areas. I know it's a very big topic. If I keep on talking about it, it will go on for hours. I think I have spoken a lot about intent and signals. What kind of intent and signals are out there? There are hundreds of it. Okay, there's no limit to it. We are just going to cover a few of them, like web, email, ads, CRM. That is what we're going to cover for this particular session. But we have other sessions where we have talked about other signals as well. Okay. So this is what we're going to talk about. Some of the major intent signals that we typically track within the HubSpot. Okay. What is the difference between lead and signal? This question that comes very often. Leads are the people who have actually filled up the form. There's a difference. So lead means somebody has actually filled up a form, or somebody has actually given you a call, given their contact details, or somebody has actually replied back to your email with their contact details. So if somebody gives the contact detail, it becomes lead. Signals not necessarily is a lead. For example, if somebody, if someone from a company visited your website, so you know the company name, you don't know the person name. So that's a signal. That's not lead, right? So if somebody has interacted with your ads and that data is now captured in Mixpanel, that's not a lead, because you don't have the email address or phone number of those people, right? You have the information. Maybe a cookie has fired. You have the information. It's tracked. You can do the retargeting, remarketing, ads. You can do a bunch of stuff, but that's not a lead. So there's a difference between leads and signal. Signal works on leads, on known leads. For example, the leads which are there on your CRM, and anonymous leads. For example, somebody has just come, visited your app, never signed up, just interacted with your app without signing up, and then they left. Okay, that signal can be tracked within the app, within the product engagement tool, but that's not really a lead. So you can definitely run ads. You can definitely, figure out who those person are. Okay, which I'm not going to get into right now, but that's not a lead, right? Signals are more like a behavior. Lead is more like an outcome, right? Signals generally goes out all the time. For example, if I'm looking for a job change, I will, go and post my resume on Indeed. So that's a signal, right? So signals happen earlier. If I'm looking for a new product or service, maybe I will start going to G2 and going through the product reviews and other stuff. That's a signal that I'm giving them, right? So signals can happen very early, and you have to detect the signal as fast as possible before your competitor does. So signal is a behavior that can be tracked to know who and when to engage, right? If a company is going for a funding round and it has acquired a funding, that's a signal. They may be, releasing those news on social media and Crunchbase and others. Now, using those information, you can track that these are the companies who have got funded, in the last 3 months. Then you can reach out to those companies saying that, hey, you know what? We are a compliance agency and we help funded companies go through certain compliances, right? The governmental compliances. So in that way, you have tracked the signals in the market early on, and then you have reached out to those companies before your competitors can reach out to them, because everybody is going to reach out to them. And if nobody is going to reach out to them, they are going to reach out to some people, right? So it would be better if you reach out to them before anybody else does. And how you can do that? If you have the mechanism to track those signals, if you have the infrastructure and the stack to work on those signals, right? And that is what we built in Insightstap. If you want more information, go to our website. There's a lot of information available there. Also, please write down in the comment section if something that very specific, if you want to ask. We are always consistently looking for questions within the comment section in our YouTube channel and LinkedIn videos. And we always try to create videos and answer as many questions as possible. So please do follow us on LinkedIn, and do please subscribe us on YouTube channel if you have not already. Okay, now let's move on. So signal is early detection, which creates action and pipeline. And lead is basically late entry. Okay, so suppose you run Google Ads. Okay, you are running Google Ads on certain keywords. For example, you are a plumber, you are running ads. Hey, I'm the best plumber in Chicago, right? That's the ad you are running. And somebody is looking for plumber, they will go click on the ad, they will come down to, say, a landing page, and then they will fill up a form. That means they have become a lead for you as a plumber, right? So lead is more of a reaction. Okay, and lead will only be called as lead if at least they have given their email address or phone number or both. Okay, or else they are not lead, right? But lead comes delayed. Signals are early detection, right? So signals means early detection. That means if you can detect those signals early on, that means that's great. For example, there's a new project being launched, new real estate project being launched. Okay, in order to launch those real estate projects, the company needs to go through certain governmental procedures. They'll have to file for certain compliances, and that needs to be filed in the government portals that is available publicly or maybe through API, right? So if you as a plumber, get those data, you build a tech stack, get those data as to who are the builders who are building new buildings, in Chicago, then you can reach out to those builders and say, hey, you know what? You are building new buildings. That's great. I know that you are going to build a new building here also. We are a plumbing company, and we can help you out with, the entire plumbing facility for the entire project. Okay, I'm just making this up, but I hope that you get the point here, right? So there's no right or wrong answer. There's no specific industry. This signal is more like a mindset. So we have a strategy called the dark funnel strategy, which I've created a lot of content in. It's a mindset. So there were a traditional mindset called the IDA, the funnel method of doing marketing. It's a traditional old mindset. It still works. Okay, and we do that as well. But this is a new way of thinking, right? So it's a new framework. It's a new principle. It's a new mindset. And thanks to AI and automation, things have become much faster and easier as compared to what we were doing 10 years back. All of the stuff that I'm talking about, we were doing it 10 years back. It just was so difficult that only large-scale companies were able to afford it. But now the data is cheap, the automation is available, the tools are available, the technology is there, okay, it's readily available. The data is not costly anymore. So now even the small businesses and the startups can do it. Something which was only, a playground for very, very large enterprise companies 10 years back. Okay. All right. So these are the HubSpot signal sources. I'm going to quickly jump into HubSpot as well. But typically, this is what we do for our customer: page views, repeat visits, high value page engagement, CTA, email, ad interaction, form engagement, lifecycle state changes, and more. Okay, so I'm going to jump into HubSpot as well to quickly show you how we do that. Okay, so just give me a second. Let's start with the HubSpot itself. Okay, now I'm going to show you where exactly you can see those intent and signals and how you can configure it within HubSpot. Right? I'm going to stick to only this particular topic for this session. I know some of you might be new to HubSpot as a platform, and you might have a lot more question about what HubSpot is and what are the other functionality. HubSpot is the all-in-one tool. If I go on explaining what HubSpot is, it's going to take a very long time. So I'm going to stick to one very small subject right now, which is intent and signals. So if you go to HubSpot and if you go under Marketing Hub, okay, there's a bunch of stuff here. You can click here on buyer intent, and you can go to this section where you track the signals, right? So these are the different types of signals that you can track within HubSpot. The first is the most common one that we talked about is the web visitor, right? You just go back. Okay. So pages, web visitor. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. So somebody comes onto your website and they do something, right? So this tracker has been placed on my website itself. So now I know in last 7 days who are the companies, and this gives company level data. It does not give personal level data. So the way it works is, if somebody from this particular company has come and they have checked my website, who that person is, we don't know. But we know that they have come from this particular company, because the reason how we know that is through cookie setting and the fact that they are using their own ISP email while logging in, while using their browser. So it works through cookies, okay, and ISP browser settings, and also there are third-party, data providers that works into this. Maybe I'll create another video on that in the technicalities here. But right now, just for all the beginners, we are able to figure out at least 50 to 60% of the time who those companies are which are visiting my website. So as you can see, these are the company which is visiting my website. I'll take an example of Innofied here. So somebody from Innofied visited my website 3 times. Okay, I'll click on this. So as you can see, so these are my website. Both of the websites are mine. In both, my trackers is working. So I know that there are 2 visits on my website, 1 visit on this particular website, and I also know what activity that happened, right? Okay, so I can do some more setting. I'm going to talk about the settings as well. Okay, but this is one example here. Okay, and then I can go and check existing record. Okay, if these people have existing record in my CRM, I can check that as well, right? So and I can go on and on like this. Okay, so as you can see, there are people from Oracle visiting my site and a bunch of others. And this is just last 7 days. If I do 30 days, 40 days, I'll get more information. So there are 67 companies who have visited my website in last 7 days. And some of them, they have just come for browsing. Some of them, they are real customers. They are real prospects, right? Some of them, they are just there to read a blog. How can I know who is doing what? Okay, that information is also being tracked, right? For example, this company has done 13 page views. So I can go and check the activity, right? And I can exactly see what they're doing. So they are checking this particular blog, right? And they are checking this particular website, and they also check the contact. If somebody has checked my pricing page or contact page, that means they can be a prospect. If somebody has just read the blog and they left, that means they are just in for the information, right? They're not in to buy anything. So so there are decisions that needs to be made, and the AI can be trained to take this kind of decisions, right? And then based on that, you can then go ahead and create, add it to CRM, these accounts, and then track the intent signals, and then find the people working for this company and then reach out to them. Okay. So as you can see, right now, I know that they have checked out my webinar 38 webinar. Okay. So I know what is webinar 38. I know the code. So I will check out which webinar they have checked out. And also I know that they have checked out the best tools and platforms for creating AI agents. So I can clearly see that somebody from this particular company is trying to build AI agents, right? And they have also checked out my contact us page and also the work, maybe the case studies they have checked. Good. All the signals is telling me, all the signals, when I put together all the information, I'm getting an information that I'm getting an insight that this can be a potential prospect, this particular account. So what I can do is I will go ahead and add into the CRM and I will track more signals on that. I'm going to come to that later on. Okay. And then I can find the contact and then reach out to the contact within this particular account. Make sense? So I can go on and on this, but I hope that you got the high level understanding of what the visitor intent is. The second intent that the most commonly used intent, the research intent. So as you can see, there are people who are doing research, right? And that data is being stored. Okay, how this happens? If I start on this, it'll take another webinar for me to talk about it. But for everybody who is not a beginner, who's at an intermediate level, they understand that most of the data providers they store this information, right? Like ZoomInfo, and thanks to HubSpot now buying up Clearbit, HubSpot also has this information. So if I put some keywords, around certain research topic, for example, if I am a plumber, then I can put up a keyword like plumbing services. If somebody is looking for plumbing services online, then we'll be able to track it, right? We have put some keywords like user experience, UX, right? This is our keyword. If somebody is looking for UX, then I want to track that. As you can see, there are a lot of companies. Obviously, I cannot reach out to 245,000 companies to do that. Okay? So then I will have to set up an auto agent, right? I can set up an auto agent and I can track more signals. Okay, and I can create a view and I can come down to say 5,000 companies, and then I do a reach out to 5,000 companies, right? Okay, so I can set up a view based on some more condition, some more signals. Okay, obviously 245,000 companies is too much for me to track and reach out to. But within this, I can go ahead and create more conditions, right? In terms of research intent. So if somebody is doing research on UX, there is a good chance that I will get this information here in my HubSpot in real time. Okay, and I can reach out to those companies in real time. That's cool, right? So these are very high level stuff. If you can build those agentic solutions properly, if the tech stack that works properly, then you can do a lot. The third is the other signals, right? So these are the two most commonly used signals. The third is the other signals. Okay, that means what I can do is I can go ahead and select the companies within my CRM, or I can create a segment of the companies. Right? Segment, I can go ahead and create a segment, right? I can create segment like, for example, past clients and what I can create segments in whichever way I want, or I can basically track for all the companies within my CRM, right? So in that case, if they are giving out any signals, for example, if the companies within my CRM, they are visiting my website, that will be tracked as well. They'll be tracked as activity. I'm going to show you how the activity looks like. So if you go into the setting, so these are the kind of signals you can track. For example, for all the companies in my CRM, I want to track whether they are doing executive hiring, C-level hiring. Okay, track that. Good. Funding, they are getting new funding. They are doing geographic expansion. Okay, they are doing any layoff. They are doing any mergers and acquisition. right? They are doing any new product launches. They are doing any strategic planning. I mean, you see the technology investment. For example, they are buying Salesforce, right? Research level change. Okay, visitor intent change. So this we already discussed. This web visitor change. Okay, job ended, job started, email bounce. I mean, it goes on, right? And I can either turn it on or off. I don't have to turn it on for everything. For example, this is not applicable for me. So whichever is applicable for me, then we will be able to start tracking all these signals for those companies who are there in your CRM or in a particular segment, right? For example, you have top 100 company in healthcare industry in the region of Chicago that we want to track. So you upload those company details, those 100 companies, okay, and then you start tracking about mergers and acquisition, leadership content, layoff, whatever. And then if you get enough signals, enough information, where you can go ahead and do the outreach, which is more personalized, you can do that as well, right? And the same goes with your existing CRM database and like so on. Make sense? So this is, we talked about the visitor, we talked about research, we talked about other signals. There's a bunch of it. Okay, you can do the configuration here. Okay, I will go ahead and create some more videos around this as well on how to do the configuration, how to do the setting. But I think overall you got the point of how HubSpot is working on the signals. It is now becoming all-in-one tool, and it is truly a remarkable, solution right now as a platform. Okay, so HubSpot Signals plus enrichment means actionable GTM. That means if you can track the signals, you can do the enrichment. That means your sales team will be GTM ready, right? So we talked about the signals framework in the last session, okay, and we are going to continue having this discussion on signals framework. This is a framework we use. We have designed this framework in Insightstap. Every letter in the word signals signify these words. That means S stands for spot. Integrate, spot the signal out there. If there is a company who has gone through mergers and acquisition, company visited your website, integrate with your CRM. That means push the data into CRM. If the company is already there in your CRM, if the contact is already there in your CRM, update it, enrich it, right? Group it, put it, create segments around it, nurture them, send them email, SMSs, run some workflows, activate it, run some ads on those content, those company and content. It's only on those companies and content. And then create a loop. That means, create a reporting framework and then, go through the data, see what is working, see what is not working, and then based on that, you scale. So this is a framework that we have developed. We already created a webinar last week, and we're going to put the link of the webinar in the description section. If you want to know more about what Signals framework is, you can go through that webinar, right? So each word starts from for a particular step, and then we follow this particular framework to implement this entire thing. Okay. So to wrap it up, this is what we detect typically: page views, repeat visits, CTA engagement, email responses, life cycle, and then there is a bunch of more which is not mentioned here, which I've already shown you in HubSpot. Okay, we spot a lot of signals. We have built a lot of AI agents around that as well ourselves. Plus, we work with Plays and HubSpot to track some more. Okay, and then we have multiple different use cases that we have built, right? Okay. So I think I'm going to quickly skip this. We have another session on this. You can go ahead and go through that particular webinar. Okay. What this unlocks for GTM teams: earlier engagement, better qualification, higher conversion, cleaner CRM, lower CSE, more predictable pipeline. So the whole idea is not to go in the traditional funnel method of spray and pray. Okay, reach out to 100 million people and then just pray that some of them become your customer. Here, you look, it's like you are going out with the night vision camera and you're looking for the signal. You're like a bat in the night time. You're looking for the signal, and then based on the signal coming up, you pinpoint and you target your accounts and your customers. It's a very different way of thinking when it comes to go to market, right? Okay, and this is the world we are going into, right? Signal creates context creates action, and action creates revenue, right? Okay, and this is much more precise much more effective, much more cost effective, much more efficient. The HubSpot is now already capturing intent. Advantage comes from it using correctly. So if you want more information around that, please reach out to us. If we do a complete GTM tech stack build up for our customers, if you are a B2B team looking for help when it comes to AI agents, building custom applications, implementing signal-based frameworks for your B2B teams, please do reach out to us. We are very happy to share more information as and when needed. You can book a demo with us as well. Please write down in the comment section if you have any questions. We'll be very happy to answer. Please do subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and do follow us on LinkedIn as well. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you in the next one.